founding fathers of the United States built this country on freedom. They built the nation on freedom. You know, freedom from the British, correct? So they would frown upon limiting a citizen's rights and freedoms. The United States is built on freedom, and a fat tax would take away from your freedom to eat whatever you want and weigh as much as you want. First, I'm going to address what a fat tax really is. Second, I'm going to tell why a fat tax wouldn't benefit the United States at all. And lastly, I'm going to tell you how the fat tax is against what the U.S. is really all about and what it was built on. So first off, I'm going to clarify what a fat tax is. A lot of people think it's just like, you know, a tax on your weight, but in reality, it's really not. A fat tax will tax food and drinks that are deemed unhealthy by the U.S. government. A citizen will not have control over what he or she buys due to the steep tax put on foods they choose to eat. The foods that are unhealthy will have a steep tax put on them, such as, you know, right now there's just a normal, 8% tax. Well, unhealthy foods like Coca-Cola or, Doritos, something like that, are going to have an even steeper tax on them because they're unhealthy. Google defines a fat tax to be a tax on foods or drinks considered unhealthy and whose consumption is believed to be linked to rising rates of obesity. What this means in basic terms are that the reason that the United States is so obese is because fatty foods are cheap. And putting a fat tax on fatty foods will, raise the price, and people are not going to eat them and become less fat. This tax is meant to make the country a healthier place to live. The Huffington Post says the United States is the #1 most obese country in the world. Mm-hmm. It's right in front of Mexico. What this really is, it's makes the United States look bad, really, and this fat tax is to make the United States look better as a country, healthier as a country, and so that's what the whole point of this is. Allegedly, a fat tax would decrease the amount of obese people in the United States. Next, I'm going to give you a reason as to why the fat tax wouldn't benefit the United States at all. A fat tax wouldn't benefit the United States because regardless of what tax is put on certain foods, or anything for that matter, citizens are going to find a way to do it. And we can date this back to the 1920s when Prohibition was a thing. Prohibition was when alcohol was made illegal. For years, the United States citizens have been able to get what they want regardless of what kind of laws or regulations are on them. Prohibition in the 1920s is an example of Americans getting what they want when they want. Al Capone is a good example of somebody running a business like this. All he did was smuggle alcohol into the country. The University of Albany said that regardless of prohibition laws, over 1 million gallons of alcohol was still smuggled into the U.S. So that this proves, regardless of what the United States government wants to do to regulate things, the citizens are still going to find a way to get what they want. Lastly, I'm going to explain why a fat tax is against the platform on which the country was built on. A fat tax is against what the United States is all about, really. The United States is a democracy, and a fat tax does not pertain to a democratic government. A fat tax limits to what you can buy, and that's not what democracy is all about. Democracy is about free market and living in a great, in a good economy. A fat tax is a socialistic concept that should not be adopted in the United States. The CIA defines socialistic government as a government in which the means of planning, producing, and distributing goods is controlled by a central government. A fat tax is controlling what you buy and when you buy it. So that's completely socialistic. The United States is not a socialistic country. We live in a democracy, and we want democratic views. We don't want to be limited to what we can buy and when we can buy it. A fat tax will limit what citizens can eat, therefore giving all the power to the government. Once again, coming back to socialism. Our founding fathers fought for our freedom, and letting the government tax certain food items would be taking a step back rather than a step forward we really need to take as a country. Taxing food items will take away freedoms to consume whatever you would like. Consuming what you would like isn't in the Constitution, however, it's an implied power as a citizen. The idea of free market and democracy is that you can buy what you want to buy and do what you want to do as a consumer. So a fat tax would limit what you can buy and when you can buy it, therefore making the idea of a democracy go out the window and making the country more socialistic. Now I'm going to wrap up by concluding my speech. First of all, I told you what a fat tax was, and just clarify what it was. Secondly, I told you why would it be beneficial to the United States, because regardless of what happens, regardless of what the government does, the U.S. citizens are still going to find a way around it. And finally, I told you why a fat tax is against what the U.S. is all about, by explaining to you why it's undemocratic, and it's non-democratic, and it's completely socialistic, and not what the U.S. is about. The U.S. citizens strongly disagree to allow the fat tax to be added to certain foods. The United States is the land of the free. Allowing the government to tell what citizens what they can and cannot eat is taking away their freedoms and essentially discrediting what our country was founded on, which is democracy. And in order for the United States to move on and not be all about this socialistic power that we are right now, we have to start by not allowing fat taxes to be passed. because that can just open the doors for more socialistic ideas. Thank you.